To welcome you to my freelance version of the Great Northern Railway. I actually call mine the Great Northern Railroad, just that way. I modeled the area from Spokane, Washington down to Northern California, which of course was the old SP&S route, and I believe the SP&S was a subsidiary of the Great Northern. I don't actually use the same names of the towns. Well, I have a couple that are named the same, but most of them I've changed just to protect the people that are living there, because I don't actually do it the way that town looks. I've been building this layout now since about the early 80s, and it's in a large train room that's 21 foot wide by 35 foot long. So I have a fairly extensive layout. I like to operate it with maybe 5, 6, or 7 operators, and it brings the layout to life. Construction was done in the old tried and true methods that I read about for years while I was serving in the Navy. I used the Ogre construction method, topped with joist holding up 3/4 inch sub roadbed. I used 3/4 inch plywood in lieu of 1/2 inch because when I went to the lumber yard, all the 1/2 inch plywood was so badly warped that I could never work with it. It's turned out to be a very good idea to use the 3/4 inch because I have a very solid roadbed that has not given me any trouble over all these many years. I used code 100 flex track for my track, and I also had Pico turnouts and Shinohara turnouts. I like the Picos best. They are very smooth and easy to operate, and even though I started building the layout in the old days when we had block control and electrically controlled turnouts, as years went by, I got to the point where I was using hand-operated turnouts and walk-around DC type controls. Eventually I switched over to command control, and I originally started with Digitrax, and now I've switched over to North Coast Engineering. DCC makes operating the layout much more fun. I like to have 6 or 7 operators up here to operate the layout. It really brings it to life. Construction of the mountains and the hills were done with the tried and true cardboard strips stapled and glued together, covered by plaster impregnated cloth. I used mostly hydrocal plaster. In fact, I can remember bringing